rabbit cur in such a place of power. A cur's weakness, properly manipulated, can be a sharp tool.
We are looking at basically a movie. A smokescreen is another way of describing it, whereby, and especially under Trump, this has been massively done, you focus attention on the personality who is a here today, gone tomorrow level of what we call politics. And because the focus is on them and people think that's where the power is, all the powers with Theresa May, the powers with Donald Trump, people then are so focused on that, they don't see that actually what's really running events is the permanent government.
Now, the Carter administration was one extreme, and then we came into the Reagan administration, yet
nothing changed.
Nothing changed. What you're saying is that no matter what the political leanings, they seem to be playing the same game.
As long as you're playing their game, it doesn't matter who you vote for, who you put in office. They all belong to the other side. They're in the pockets of the Illuminati.
They were supporting the so-called civil war in Syria, which has created catastrophe in that country. And another on the list, back in September 2000, was Iran.
We took action last night to stop a war. We did not take action to start a war.
Trump thinks we can't accuse him of rushing into a war if he reads his teleprompter super slowly. You can't just kill a top general of a sovereign nation and call it de-escalation.
Soleimani was not planning an attack. He was in Iraq. This is where he was killed at the Iraqi airport. He was in Iraq carrying a message to Saudi Arabia on how to reduce Iran-Saudi tensions as part of an Iraqi mediation effort. He was literally on a peace mission when he was murdered, when he was assassinated. A peace mission. A peace mission.
Trump and his allies are lying in the exact same ways the Bush administration lied us into a catastrophic war in Iraq nearly 17 years ago, and the exact same people are doing it. Vice President Mike Pence lied and tried to link Soleimani to 9/11 in a tweet that was not supported by the evidence, and if that sounds familiar to you, it's because it's right out of the playbook of George W. Bush and Donald Rumsfeld, who repeatedly linked Saddam Hussein to al-Qaeda and other terrorist groups without providing any evidence.
And now Mr. Make America Great Again, I'm a maverick, comes in, and he's got rid of the Iran deal, which has kicked all that off.
We're going to go into Iraq to take the oil and establish a base in the Middle East, and we're going to go into Venezuela. And I said, how are you going to convince people that this war is real? He said, but the media can convince everybody it's real. I mean, you know, it's just that you keep talking about things, you keep saying it over and over and over again, and eventually people believe it.
And he's seeking this coup in Venezuela.
Is he as much a maverick as he would like us to believe?
Not in the least, Eamon. This is the con. You see, if you're running basically a one-party state, where, as they say in America, those who've kind of sussed it, it doesn't matter who you vote for, the government still gets in, and it's the permanent government that's always there, not the politicians that come and go, then you have to sell, in terms of the public, the idea that they have choice. Because if you don't, then, and lots of people are starting to realize this, they'll realize actually they don't have choice.
He expounded the value of systematic deceptions, pointing out that their agentur should be trained in the use of high-sounding phrases and the use of popular slogans. They should make the masses the most lavish of promises. He observed, quote, "The opposite of what has been promised can always be done afterwards. That is of no consequence," end quote.
At the same time, he's acting like the most anti-establishment president of all time when he's on the campaign trail. He's also the most deeply pro-establishment candidate in terms of, or president in terms of what he's actually doing. So it's a fascinating dynamic that's going on right now.
It's a giant hustle.
That's right.
He ran on an anti-interventionist thing. He upped the troop count. He said, and show the tweets. Why are we in Afghanistan? He upped the troop count in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
He bombed Syria twice, and then he pulls people out. So Call him on that. Call him on the $1.5 trillion tax break that he gave to his billionaire buddies.
Which could have given us all free college, by the way.
All free college.
Could have given us free college.
Now, as we mentioned last week, the bigger issue with Trump's sudden bombing of Syria is it runs directly counter to everything he'd said previously through tweets like, "What I am saying is stay out of Syria." But it turned out that was just a warm-up for a week full of foreign policy flip-flops.
President Trump making a number of stunning reversals as he faces multiple foreign policy crises after repeatedly calling NATO obsolete on the campaign trail.
NATO, in my opinion, is obsolete.
Now, Mr. Trump changing his tone.
I said it was obsolete. It's no longer obsolete.
It is incredibly annoying.
If I'm elected president, we are going to drain the swamp in Washington, D.C.
This is him just 1 month after his election, essentially telling everyone to their faces that the phrase was meaningless.
Funny how that term caught on, isn't it? I tell everyone, I hated it. Somebody said, drain the swamp. I said, oh, that's so hokey. That is so terrible. I said, all right, I'll try it. So like a month ago, I said, drain the swamp. The place went crazy. I said, whoa, what's this? Then I said it again. Then I started saying it like I meant it, right? It's true. It's true.
It isn't. It isn't. It isn't. Trump never meant drain the swamp. And you can tell that by what has happened since.
Donald, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Alex.
During the campaign, Trump appeared on Jones's show, pitching both his new book and his candidacy, while also heaping praise on the host.
I just want to finish by saying your reputation's amazing. I will not let you down. You will be very, very impressed, I hope.
YouTube removed many top channels, not just videos, channels associated with InfoWars, including the Alex Jones channel, which had 2.4 million subscribers and videos that were viewed over 1.5 billion times.
Where was Donald Trump when Alex was dumped by all these social media Silicon Valley corporations? Where was Trump for him? You know, it's not words that make a difference. It's actions. Where's Trump in terms of defending the alternative media?
Does the president believe, or does the administration feel that there needs to be some form of regulation for Google, or what exactly was the president referring to?
We'll let you know. We're taking a look at it. We'll let you know.
Could you explain a little bit what you're looking into, what you'd like to see happen there?
No. We're just looking into it.
Okay, just looking into it.
Yeah.
Just leave it at that. Thank you.
I said.
What are you looking into specifically?
We're just do some investigation and some analysis. That's what we do.
Is there any evidence that they actually are censoring anyone's search results?
We're looking into it.
That's great. They're looking into it. Nothing to worry about here.
And we will develop new ways to counter those who use new domains such as cyber and social media to attack our nation or threaten our society.
And we already know the alliance is a disinformation shop run out of the German Marshall Fund, which is backed by the U.S. government. So we've already exposed the U.S. Marshall Fund funds these places over in the UK that push Russiagate and smear people who are telling the truth about it and who are anti-war. That's the government funding smears against citizens who are against government policy.
A U.S. government program designed to fight Russian disinformation, Twitter trolls, and online fake news just morphed into exactly the thing that it was supposed to be against.
But with little appetite for another Mideast war, a view apparently held by President Trump, you might ask, who's cheerleading for conflict? Well, it turns out the chorus includes U.S. taxpayer-funded trolls targeting journalists on social media. Welcome to a new chapter in the disinformation wars. His sin? It's apparently not being sufficiently enthusiastic about regime change. What makes this story more than troll bites man is the Iran Disinformation Project was funded by the U.S. State Department as part of its Global Engagement Center, which is supposed to fight online disinformation and propaganda. But in this case, it appears they did exactly the things they were supposed to fight. And what's arguably worse is that the Global Engagement Center was supposed to be focused on combating Russian disinformation campaigns and funded with $80 million to do just that.
Trump never meant drain the swamp. And you can tell that by what has happened since.
And that spirit will only be magnified. Well, only with this man right here. I know that for a fact. And you'll be doing things that you don't even know about. Right now, they're not even a glimmer in your eye, but, and we have a couple going, Mike, right now that a lot of people don't know about that are very, very encouraging.
He told those present at this meeting that they must use their wealth to have candidates chosen for public office who would be obedient to our commands, so they may readily be used as pawns in our game by the learned and ingenious men we will appoint to operate behind the scenes of government as official advisors. He added, the men we appointed as advisors will have been bred, reared, and trained from childhood in accordance with our ideals to rule the affairs of the whole world.
I know nothing about WikiLeaks. It's not my thing.
WikiLeaks! I love WikiLeaks!
Consider the fact that I'm being called out because I like President Donald J. Trump, whose political agenda is in most ways the exact opposite of those running against him for president.
Really? Why isn't if it's the exact opposite, why isn't Hillary in jail? Why isn't Obama in jail? Why aren't the Podestas in jail? Easy stuff, guys. Easy stuff. And why doesn't Trump do it? Because they're all in the same bed together. You would expose the reality of what happened in 9/11 and go after those guys. If you really had that much power, but you must not have that much power, or you're in the same bed together. And it's both. They're just puppets. Presidents are just puppets. Trump says U.S. Federal Reserve too proud to admit mistake. Guys, this is WWE stuff. There's nothing substantial here. Exclusive. Trump says he has the power to remove Federal Reserve Chairman if I want to.
Intelligence officials warned House lawmakers that Russia was interfering in the 2020 campaign to try to get Trump reelected. 5 people familiar with the matter said. Every fucking thing Trump's doing is anti-Putin. If you look at it, everything you can say he's doing for Putin, I got 10 things he's doing against him. So it's all fucking made up, and this is how the intelligence community captures the narrative.
Like, he broke every single political rule that ever existed when he ran for president, and he won. So what does that tell you? Notice, not a single thing is brought up about U.S. policy towards Russia in this rant. Why? Because the overwhelming majority of U.S. policies towards Russia are more hawkish. So obviously Trump's not a Putin puppet. Obviously he didn't do collusion. He's been escalating with Russia across the board. U.S. warships in the Black Sea. NATO buildup on Russia's border. Look at what we're doing in Venezuela. It's the opposite of what Russia wants. Permanent military occupation of Syria. That's exactly the opposite of what Russia and Vladimir Putin wants. And the list goes on. Trying to get the Germany to end their oil deal with Russia so that they have an oil deal with us instead. Is that what Putin wants? To lose a tremendous amount of money? Is that what his puppet would try to have done? No. So